I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And today is This Week in College Basketball for February 23rd through March 1st. Another great week of college basketball, filled with some ups, some downs. Now, before I get into that, I would like to say we went 2-6 last Saturday. Yesterday, in my pick'ems, we went 6-2. So that's a nice way to turn it around for your boy. We got an upset with the St. Mary's win at Gonzaga. That was my upset for that week. Mikey Lewis career year, 31 points. Check the reel out. I talked about that. We did get, a pick wrong. Iowa State Hilton Magic must have ran out because boy Grant McCaslin and Texas Tech did a number one. Iowa State blew them out. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, again, went 6-2 on Saturday. Had a pretty good week, man. But without further ado, let's jump into this week in college basketball for this past week. And the first headline we got, Tennessee State and Morehead State are co-champs of the Ohio Valley Conference. And Tennessee State, it's their first Ohio Valley Conference championship since the 1994-1995 season, coached by head coach, you might have heard of him from the Duke Blue Devils, Nolan Smith, guard from the Duke Blue Devils, had a little stint in the NBA. First year at his first ever head coaching job, he gets the Ohio Valley Conference championship with Morehead State. Again, I have a reel out on that as well, so make sure y'all show that some love as well. But I wanted to show him some extra love. Shout out to Nolan Smith. How you doing, brother? Ohio State is not the best, but shout out to y'all. I did pick y'all to win today. I called the upset with y'all today. I did pick y'all, not on the show, to the parlay chat that we have for members of not my channel, but the Refuse to Lose Network. I did tell them that I had y'all beating Purdue today. Y'all actually kind of own Purdue of late, if we're being honest. But yeah, so shout out to Tennessee State and Morehead State for that. Florida continues their dominance. They blew out Arkansas badly. I mean, by halftime, the game looked over. They won 9 straight. They've clinched a share of the SEC. Now, Alabama is still 2 games behind them with 2 games left. So if Florida wins their next game, they win the SEC outright back-to-back years. I think back-to-back years. Don't quote me on that, actually. I know they won a tournament. I can't remember if they won the SEC championship. I want to say they did, though. But Todd Golden has done a phenomenal job at Florida. And Todd Golden is putting himself in some conversations for coaches in Florida history. So shout out to Coach Golden getting the job done there. Tennessee, my God. Death, taxes, Tennessee blowing the lead. Tennessee blows the lead to Alabama at home. I thought it was just a Kentucky thing, but I guess not. I guess they blow leads to just other people other than Kentucky. But, man, and I know Nate Ament did go down. He did try to come back. Didn't work out. And I know losing Nate Ament is a huge blow, but, man, they just continue to lose. They lost to Mizzou on the road, blew a lead to Bama. It's not good for the Volunteers. Texas Tech, man, they lose JT Toppin and they win 3 straight. They beat Iowa State, like I said, in Ames, Iowa. They end Iowa State's undefeated streak this year at home. Jalen Petty, who was my X factor, up 6. They were up 6, and he hit 2 crazy shots to put Texas Tech up double digits. Donovan Atwell had a great game. Man, it was just Christian Anderson. He's elevated his game since JT Toppin went down. Grant McCaslin deserves a big congratulatory celebration for what he's done so far. Like I said, Christian Anderson stepping up his game. Donovan Atwell stepping up his game. Hey, shout out to you. I know I'm wearing a bunch of Michigan State stuff. I graduated from Michigan State. I'm actually a Michigan State, South Carolina fan. I want Lamont Paris in South Carolina to be good. I was so happy for them 2 years ago with Talon Cooper and BJ Davis and CMB. Actually, CMB freshman year, I said he should have won Lotto his freshman year, but ended up he won Lotto his sophomore year. Michi, I was so happy for that team. It sucked that Jonathan Cousineau put us out, went for 40 when he was on Oregon, because Cousineau got a lot of praise when he was at South Carolina. But shout out to you, man. Hopefully you like, comment, share, subscribe, man. I hope South Carolina is good next year, because Lamont Paris might be on the hot seat, and I don't want that for him. But I appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, Grant McCaslin, great job what he's doing at Texas Tech. He has wins over TCU? Or was it TCU or K-State? Iowa State and Cincinnati. So shout out to him. Next, Arizona blows out Kansas at home, man. Absolute dominant performance. Now, they were up 11.5. Then Kansas actually cut it to 2 before Arizona went on like a 16-0 run, something crazy like that, and blew the game wide open. Kansas also, while they got blown out at home, they did beat the mess out of Houston and Lawrence. Man, I understood, like I said, all the trends told me on Monday to pick Kansas, but I just couldn't see Houston losing 3 straight. And I was wrong. Houston lost 3 straight. And I'll speak about Houston in a second. And then I see your comment too, Josh. I'm going to get to that in a second too. But Houston might be overrated. And it hurts my heart to say this. I am a Kelvin Sampson guy. I want to see Kelvin Sampson get a ring if Izzo don't get one. But man, this sucks to see. Let me address this real quick. I was disappointed in South Carolina in football. I don't know how we'll look next year. Lenore Sellis is coming back, which that's a plus. Nick Harbor will be back, so that's a plus as well. Dylan Stewart's a junior. But I don't know yet how I feel about South Carolina football. But I do an SEC. I do all the conference previews, all the Power 4 conferences. Well, now Power 5 because the Pac-12 is back. So I do previews for all the power conferences, and then I do 10 group of 5 schools to look out for. So if you stay subscribed, if I earn your subscription and you stay tuned in, I will be talking about South Carolina and previewing the season later on down the road. But look, again, I appreciate you for joining. I appreciate you for tapping in. But yeah, Houston lost, man. They lost 3 straight. I ain't see it coming. They haven't done it since 2017. But yeah, Kansas might be an NBA team on Big Monday in Lawrence, man. That's a joke, but still, man, I guess at this point 40-0 is proving more than having lost 3 straight since 2017. So Kansas on Big Monday at home, just automatically go with Kansas. Just do it. But next, we got Duke continues their ACC dominance. After losing to UNC, they have been on nothing but a tear. Period. Just not even the ACC, because they had a non-con game against Michigan and they won that game. So shout out to Duke, man. Duke's been playing unbelievable basketball. Beat the mess out of Virginia in Cameron indoors. I thought that game might be a little close. I thought Duke might pull away late. Nah, Duke just flat out ran them. So shout out to Duke. Michigan wins the Big Ten championship. It hurts my heart to say this, but I can't show bias on my show. And I never do, and I never will. So Michigan, dominant performance in the Big Ten. So far, only 1 loss in Big Ten conference play, and that's the Wisconsin. Now, I know it ain't going to mean much, but hey, if we can go ahead and get them out the way this Sunday coming up, I feel a lot better about, them winning. Get them an L on singing night. But nonetheless, dominance in the Big Ten from Michigan this year. So shout out to them for that in their Big Ten championship. Which, by the way, hey, shout out to my boy Rail on Twitter. He was trying to downplay Michigan State winning the Big Ten championship last year because they won the tournament. So I asked him this year. I'm like, oh, it mattered now. At least he kept it real. He said, duh, we won. All right, I can respect that. At least he kept it real. But we'll move on to Liberty. They were losing games. Sam Houston was winning games. It looked like they might, battle for it all at the end of the year. But Liberty came back against Jack State and won. So Sam Houston's win, I can't remember who they beat. I want to say it was Missouri State. Didn't matter in terms of winning the conference because Liberty, all they had to do was win a game and they won the conference. So shout out to them for winning the Conference USA championship back-to-back years. Next, Troy. This is funny to me. It might not be funny, y'all. I thought it was funny to me. And it's funny that the Sun Belt is actually called the Fun Belt because I thought this was funny. But Troy actually wins the Sun Belt championship outright. But in second place, there was a six-way tie for second place. That got ugly, which Marshall shouldn't have lost to Georgia Southern, but they got swept by Georgia Southern. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have lost because they got screwed or anything. No, because they got punished. But I'm just saying that's not a game you should lose if you want to be a Sun Belt Conference champ. But yeah, they broke the 7-way tie in first place, and the second place is now a 6-way tie, which left the whole conference tournament thing in disarray. We'll talk about that because the Sun Belt Conference is this week, but that'll be Tuesday when I make my predictions for conference tournaments for this upcoming week. But yeah, shout out to Troy for winning the Sun Belt and breaking the 7-way tie. Next, the Mountain West got chaotic this week. So Utah State got absolutely destroyed by San Diego State. That was Wednesday, I want to say. New Mexico lost to Nevada on the road. That was Tuesday. But then New Mexico beat San Diego State yesterday at the Pit, and Utah State won their game against Grand Canyon Saturday at their house. So now Utah State and San Diego State, I believe, are back tied, and New Mexico is a game behind them both for the Mountain West Conference Championship, and they both have 2 games left this coming week. So getting chaotic in the Mountain West down the stretch. Next, we have Michigan State upsets Purdue, and they win in Mackey Arena for the first time in 12 years. 7 games have been played between the last time we won, which was 2014, and then the time we won Thursday. And we finally got one on the 8th. So shout out to MSU for getting the job done, which I did call on CTC as 6.5-point dogs at the time. We ended up being 7.5-point dogs, but I think before tip-off. But got the job done. We went into Purdue, won that game. Then we turned around and beat Indiana in Bloomington. So we just ran through the state of Indiana real quick. Shout out Michigan State for that. Next, Chad Baker-Mazara dismissed from USC after I think it's because no details is really out about that. He's dismissed after, I believe, leaving the bench to go to the locker room. But instead of coming back to the locker room, to the bench area after coming out the locker room, he went and sat at the benches where the fans were sitting at, where Rodney Rice was sitting at, kind of like perpendicular from the bench. So it's been released at about 5 hours ago. He is released from the team. This is his last year eligibility. He's 26, so this better be his last year eligibility. And his college career is over. So Chad Baker-Mazara, college career is now over. Clemson, they ended their 4-game losing streak. They beat Louisville at home. Louisville continues to struggle on the road. Ranked or unranked, they just continue to struggle on the road because Louisville also lost to UNC on Monday on the road. So, which I did call as a 3.5-point dog. So Louisville road troubles continue to rear their ugly head. And now we're around the corner from ACC tournament play and the tournament. So, they're not road games, they're neutral sites, but still, there ain't no more home games for real. I think they got one more left. Auburn. I'm gonna post a reel tomorrow going in depth about Auburn, but they only won 1 game in the month of February, and that was against Kentucky. Auburn loses again. They lost this week to Oklahoma badly. It was like wire to wire. They ended up losing by double digits, and they lost to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is like at the bottom of the SEC, with South Carolina, unfortunately, but they're at the bottom. So, man, that's just Auburn. It's looking bad, man. It's looking bad. St. Mary's wins a share of the WCC in their last home game of the year and their last matchup against Gonzaga in the regular season as a WCC conference game. Gonzaga next year, they move on to the Pac-12. So this was the last meeting between the two as WCC regular season opponents. Now they can always match up as non-con opponents, and stuff like that. And they can also match up in this year's WCC championship if they both make it. But as far as regular season conference foes go, that is no longer the case at this current moment. But Mikey Lewis had a career night, 31 points, and St. Mary's clinches a share of the WCC with Gonzaga. So shout out to them for that. Purdue, they lost to MSU Thursday, and then they lose to Ohio State today. They have lost 3 of their last 4 because they lost to Michigan. They beat Indiana in between that. Losing 3 of their last 4, Purdue's going to have to rebound. So that's bad for them. Now we got some conference championship winners. UMBC wins the American East Championship. So shout out to them. Actually, you know what? This is what I would do for this part right here. We'll do this right here. So, like I said, UMBC. High Point wins. That's back-to-back for them. Central Arkansas and Austin Peay are co-champs in the A-Sun. So shout out to them. Wright State wins the Horizon League Championship. Shout out to them. Merrimack wins the Metro Athletic. I think it's the Metro American Athletic. It's the MAAC Conference Championship. LIU wins the Northeastern Conference Championship. Navy wins the Patriot League Championship. ETSU wins the Southern Conference Championship. Bethune-Cookman wins the SWAC Championship. And North Dakota State wins the Summit League Championship. So those are all the rest of the conference champions for this week. And I will touch on all those, not all of them, because I think some of them don't start yet. But most of those conference tournaments on Tuesday. Now my last point is that Miami of Ohio remains undefeated. They escaped, and when I mean escaped, I mean escaped Western Michigan on the road Friday night. So shout out to them to be 29-0, 2 wins away from a undefeated regular season in the MAC. So want to say shout out to them. And that's all the headlines I have for y'all today. Now I did see this comment. I didn't forget about you, Joshua. I just wanted to get through my little talking points for this week in college basketball, because this is a college basketball, not this channel is a college basketball show, but this episode is a college basketball show. So I did want to get through the rest of that real quick before I address some more college football stuff. We did get Kendall Browse as an OC. I am interested to see what he does with the speed and talent he does on this offense. I don't know who we have at running back right now currently. That I do have to look up, but I'm interested to see what he does with this offense. Because, and I mean, really, I think our line needs to be fixed as well. But that's another story for another day. But anyway, that's all I have for y'all today in this week of college basketball. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you like what you was listening to, it helps the channel, it helps the network. Speaking of the network, we have shows on the network. We have the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. They go live on Mondays and Thursdays between 7 and about 8:30-ish. So make sure y'all tune into that. Mixture of topics between NBA, NFL, maybe some baseball. We did some baseball Thursday. Maybe some World Baseball Classic. They did touch on, I believe, the Olympics with the hockey team. Shout out to them again. We did have a college basketball topic. Now, unfortunately, it was kind of a negative one, but we did touch on some college basketball. So just it's a bevy of topics there. We got Unfazed featuring Joe and AJ. You got to catch them when they go live. They've really talked about the NBA. They're kind of more so moved on to the NBA right now. So make sure you catch them when they go live. BWT Baseball with Teddy. The World Baseball Classic starts this week, man. So be on the lookout. Teddy should be dropping content soon about the World Baseball Classic. Next, we got FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Now, obviously, fantasy football is over. The NFL is over, obviously. But we just had the combine. Some crazy numbers in the combine. Me personally, I'm not a fan of the combine. I don't really think the combine really matters. But, I mean, there was some stuff that made even me turn my head at the combine. So, shout out to them guys. They're working hard to achieve their dream nonetheless. But be on the lookout for whatever content FFC gives you. Next, we have RBO, Real Ballers Only, hosted by Vaughn. Hey, sorry, Vaughn. Sorry, my Pistons had to do that to your Magic. He is a Magic fan. That is an NBA show. My Pistons did beat his Magic by 14. But be on the lookout for content from him. We have Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sports. We have In the Red Corner featuring Tyreke and Tomo, boxing episodes. They go live on Sundays, not every Sunday, but when they do go live, it is on Sundays between around like 6:30. And we have the newest edition, Zero Sports Talk with Griffey. Again, new show, so don't know any set schedules and dates. I don't think he had I don't think he has had a live episode yet. So whenever those episodes drop, just tap in. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to those channels as well. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, I will be back tomorrow because although we do have some conference tournaments, we still have some games going on before conference tournaments. Not every conference has a tournament next week. Some conference tournaments start after next week. So tomorrow will be some episodes, just a regular poll talk. I know I'm going over Arizona, Iowa State on Monday, but I got to go look at the Tuesday schedule to see what games I'm going to talk about for Tuesday. And then and I will drop the Auburn short tomorrow. And then Tuesday's episode will be me picking the conference championship winners I think will win the conference championship for the tournaments this week. And then, hey, we are 14 days. Was it rinse, wash, repeat? Wash, rinse, repeat. I think I was about to mess the saying up. That's why I stopped myself. But anyway, we are 14 days, less than 14 days now, technically, from the Selection Sunday show. And I already got a guest confirmed to come on for the Selection Sunday show. Last year, I did it by myself. This year, it'd be cool to have a guest on. He hasn't been on the show before. I knew him since like 2008. So interested for him to make his debut on my show. Also, this is my third Selection Sunday show. It's crazy to say that this would be the third year that I've done the Selection Sunday show. So make sure y'all tune in for that stuff as well on the Selection Sunday show. I go live as the bracket is live. Reveal the bracket, write it down, talk about potential upsets for the bracket, winners, potential regional winners, Final Four, stuff like that. So it's a fun episode, so make sure you swing through. But that's all I got for y'all today. And until tomorrow, I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.